Hello, I'm Chris Richmond, and today I'm off to the Wells Walsingham Light Railway, as I hear they have a diesel running day, and we all know I'm partial to a bit of diesel traction. Most people would rather see a steam engine, but to me it seems something of a rarity that the diesels get out on passenger service on this line, and so I'm off for a ride behind that lesser spotted diesel. The railway's main terminus at Wells is situated about a quarter of a mile out of the town, on the former Great Eastern Railway's approach from the towns of Wymondham and Fakenham. Today, the railway still follows the former trackbed but terminates 4 miles south at the highly important religious centre of Walsingham. Today, our locomotive of choice is called Harvester, which has just returned from a pre-service line inspection. I meet Operations Manager Graeme Wigglesworth to find out more.
Right, hello Graeme.
Hiya.
So, you're Ops Manager here.
Yes.
Tell us about this particular locomotive.
This locomotive Harvester, which has basically got a combine harvester engine in it that we've converted over. It used to be at Ferry Meadows in Peterborough, and then we've converted it over to 10 1/4, and it just came out of a bottom end rebuild of its wheels, etc.
Now, this isn't quite like your average mainline diesel electric loco, so what's under the hood, so to speak?
Yeah, so under the hood we've got our combine harvester engine, which is, and then that then drives a hydraulic. So this is a diesel hydraulic engine. Those hydraulics then drive a chain which turn the wheels.
Right, now people see these narrow gauge locos and railways as a bit of a novelty, but there's actually quite a lot of rules and regulations involved, just like the real railway. So what's it like to drive one of these things?
Well, it's no different really than the real railway, the big railway. We have to comply with every single one of the same rules and regulations. We have an Act of Parliament here for this railway to run the railway. We have to be aware of all of the Office of Road and Rail regulations, etc. But actually, in terms of driving it, it's reasonably similar, probably slightly more tricky than a mainline loco. The modern locos now just have one power handle that does the power and then the brakes, whereas we've got separate brakes and power. So, yeah.
Right, can we go and have a look?
Yeah, sure.
Right. What have we got here then?
Okay, so the controls here, the first one we have is down the back here. Don't know if you can see it. That does our forward and reverse. Okay, and then on here, that is the brake for the locomotive. That one is the brake for the rolling stock. Then on here we have principally two controls. This one does the revs of the engine, and then this one does the bypass, so how much of the hydraulic fluid ends up in it going to the hydraulic motors. Okay.
Right.
The train is ready to depart, and it looks as though I'm one of only a few hardy passengers to travel on this blustery spring morning. The first part of the journey, the train trundles through a wild landscape of former pit workings. At this time of year you can get a good view of these workings, which interest me. The line passes under the Warham Road Bridge and rises out to the cutting before approaching the first level crossing, which also forms the line's first request stop, serving Warham Village. After passing Warham, the line passes large open fields of gently rolling hills before plunging into a deep cutting. The cutting marks the approach to the village of Whiten, passing under two minor road bridges before emerging from the cutting to the scenic backdrop of the village with its church tower dominating the skyline. Yes, it contains a ring of bells, and yes, I have rung them. In fact, I used to live here not too long ago.
Right, so now passing the village of Whiten, where I used to live. You'll see my house, it's shortly just over there.
Whiten Village once had its own proper-sized railway station in the form of Whiten Halt, which the train passes.
Now we're just approaching the former Whiten Halt. There's actually a full-size platform here, you'll see in a moment. So right down, there's a level crossing here. Now you'll see it. There it is.
The line continues along an embankment flanked by more rolling fields, but all of a sudden a smell becomes apparent, and it isn't an agricultural one.
Ah yes, now we have the delights of the Whiten Sewage Farm.
Leaving the poo farm behind, the loco's engine perks up, and we appear to slow down ever so slightly as we pass a line-side gradient post.
We appear to be on rather a steep gradient. I think we're just past a gradient post at 1 in 66. Now, from what I was told, this used to be a lot steeper and the locos actually used to really struggle to get up here on a full load. But I think it's been regraded since then, but even so, Harvest does seem to be slogging its guts out trying to get up here.
At the top of the hill, the line continues along a steep embankment, with a road passing beneath us.
We've just passed over Edgar Road, which means it's probably about half a mile until the terminus at Walsingham.
The distinct rooftops of council houses on Mount Pleasant mark our approach to the line's southern terminus at Walsingham.
Here we go then. We are shortly arriving at Walsingham, where this train completes its journey.
On arrival at the station, the loco is uncoupled and performs a run-round manoeuvre. Once the loco is hitched up, it's only a few minutes before we depart on our return journey back to Wells. I'll spare the delights of Walsingham for another time.
Right, here we go then. Back to Wells.
So there we have it. Whether the service is diesel propelled or otherwise, the Wells and Walsingham Light Railway really is a delightful little line, with a variety of landscapes and things to see. I hope those of you who have never been before will go and try it out for yourself. And those who can't, well, I hope you enjoyed this video of my visit. Thanks for watching. Now for the obligatory closing paragraph. If you enjoy following my quirky, if slightly self-indulgent adventures, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This filmmaking lark just wouldn't be worth it without the support of watchers like you. Until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.